Good afternoon, Cleveland. This is Jazz Prevo, and I'm here with Kyle Earley. Kyle, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. A little bit of background about Mr. Earley. He is now currently running for state representative for District 10 in Ohio.
Yes.
Kyle is a Cleveland native, a youth and young adult pastor, motivational speaker, political advisor, community leader. I mean, I can go on and on about his resume, but what stood out for me the most is that you worked with Nina Turner.
Absolutely. I've been working with Senator Turner for some years now. Started off as a volunteer, just two people who God the Creator connected because we have a passion for community and a passion to serve our community. And then in 2014, I was blessed and able to head her campaign and work with her as a political director as she ran for Secretary of State. And that afforded me to go on and do some other great things, not only around the state of Ohio, but also was able to do some work on the Bernie Sanders campaign during the presidential election. So it's been endless, and thankful for her friendship. We're like family, but really thankful for her friendship and her mentorship, because she's been a true friend and leader in my life.
Absolutely. Now tell me a little bit how the transition worked from you being behind the scenes to running for office for yourself.
Yeah, it's been a challenge. It's been a challenge. Being a political director, being an activist or a community organizer is something totally different. But I am making the transition because it's necessary. Whatever it's going to take for me to win this race, to become better as a leader, to become a better public servant, I'm willing to do. But it is quite the adjustment. You know, now people are telling me what to do and what I should be doing when the shoe is on the other foot. But
Absolutely.
I'm adjusting and I love it.
Absolutely. Now, growing up, is this something that you thought you would do, or is this something that came along with life?
No, it just came along with life and what my mother always talks about, which is purpose. At the end of the day, growing up the way that I grew up, I wouldn't even have thought that would have been here today. But I do thank God for purpose and destiny, because that's why I'm here. And so now that we have taken this journey, it is something that I know God has put me in, and I know it's a part of my purpose. And I don't look back. I'm honored to be here.
Now, I saw you on the phone, I see you networking, I see you doing a lot of things. What's a typical day in your life?
Wow. Well, you know, I have a family, so I have to be a family man. I have a church, so I have to be a pastor. I run multiple programs centered around youth and education and prevention, and now I'm a candidate. So I really, you know, the day in the life is getting up every morning, trying to balance out the political stuff that I have to do, still studying and working for my teachings on Sunday, and still trying to make my family happy by being present. And my friends as well. So it's very busy, it's very hectic, and people ask me all the time, how do you do this? And the key word is balance. If you want to make a difference and you want to be a difference maker, you got to adjust your life to do so, and it takes balance to do that.
Great way to get to my next question, because with that balance comes a little bit of uncomfortability.
Yeah.
As far as you being outside in the community, literally sleeping outside to try to prevent crime in our community,
Yes.
which is a very powerful statement. You know, what brought that about?
So my brother Bashir and I, we have been out in the community marching against violence for years. We are been in this thing for over 10 years together. Bashir came to me and said, listen, I'm going to go into one of the roughest parts of my neighborhood. I'm going to camp out for 3 days, and I'm going to ask people to put the guns down and to stop the violence. And I said, there's no way you're going to do this without me. And that's just how we've always worked. So for 3 days, we were out there.
I know, I saw every day of it.
Yeah.
I live in that community.
And what me and Bashir have been able to do, that's a blessing, is we will look at an issue and figure out how his side of it will have an impact and my side of it will have an impact. His side was violence and mine is too, but we also share a common thought process and outreach when it comes to poverty as well. So those two issues, and it was just like no other person to do this with, let's do it. We did it, and then we also did it on St. Clair, across from Open Pit as well. And it has had an impact. It has worked. When people say, you know, what are they doing that for? It's a publicity stunt. No, your community wants to know that you're not scared of your community. Mm-hmm. Your community wants to know that you're present in your community. And when leaders step up, people, those residents, those people in those neighborhoods appreciate it and they support it and love it.
And you know what? I will tell you a fact from our Census Bureau at this point. Mm-hmm. The poverty rate in Cleveland for our urban city residents has went down. Mm-hmm. as far as the suburban communities, it's went up. So that definitely had an impact on, the involvement part of everything, bringing people together and ending violence and just trying to bring up the morale. And we are at a 60% poverty rate in children right now.
Yeah.
So what's your plan to get that back, on track and just try to eliminate a little bit of the strife that people have to go through every day?
So the number one issue right now in District 10 is poverty. When you look at the level and the number of families that are living in poverty, we have some really serious issues to address. Now, we can continue to talk about poverty, but let's address it. So here's two things that I want to do on a state level to address it. One is I want to make sure that our school systems are properly funded and that we are putting money into programs like vocational programs, carpentry, cosmetology, as we talked about, media and technology. These are the things that draw students to want to learn. So if we're going to teach them to pass the test, then let's get them career ready and workforce development ready so that they can have a career when they get out of high school, ready to work. That will start to curb poverty as we look at young mothers and young fathers, as we look at African Americans and Hispanics, and particularly women who don't make dollar for dollar as a man. So these are the things that we need to look at to address. Secondly is, in the city of Cleveland, I really worked hard to try to get the minimum wage raised, okay?
Right.
And so we're looking at trying to get it to $15 an hour. But the reason that we want to do that is because a family cannot live off of $8.35 an hour. No matter what job you work, no matter what zip code you live in, no matter what street you come from, every person I ask, can you live off of $8.35 an hour? They say no. So why are we making people work for $8.35? Then we have to have mothers who have to work more than 40 hours a week. So they're working 80 hours outside of the home just to make ends meet. When do you have time to be a parent? When do you have time to invest in your future when you're robbing Peter to pay Paul? Let's address poverty when it comes to wages.
Absolutely, and I love the standpoint on that. By you receiving the State of Ohio MLK Social Justice Award, what has that inspired you to do?
Just keep fighting. I live by this motto, it's not a moment, it's a movement. We've been blessed, we've won awards, we've gotten recognition, but it really means nothing because I can't take it to heaven with me. I do appreciate it, but all it does is motivate me to keep working and continue to go after these issues, these social justice issues that are affecting our community.
Absolutely. And what advice do you have to offer for youth and young adults and even older, middle-aged people to be inspired to help them to do something in their community?
I think everybody has something in them to do. We just all need to do a little more of it. And one of the things that we're lacking right now in our community is the respect for what people do for their community. Some people protest, some people pray, some people deal with policy. At the end of the day, it's all a part of the movement. So let's respect what each person does, knowing that even though it may to you be a little, it's a lot to the movement of change that we need.
Absolutely. And by you when you become the state
let's
representative for
faith.
District 10,
Yes.
what does that entitle you to do for us in Cleveland?
In Cleveland, so I'll be representing a large portion of Cleveland, and really what I'll be able to do is, like for our seniors, be able to attach them and connect them to services on a statewide level through the Department of Aging. A state representative and 99 others have to look out for the state budget. Where's our money going to be spent? How do we bring extra resources to our district so that we have jobs and that we have proper schools funded and things of that nature? So I'm the voice from the local level to the state level and back to really advocate for the residents of District 10 on a statewide level.
Okay, and now you told me that you've been working with Nina for quite some time now. How does Nina play an impact in what we're doing here as well?
Absolutely. So, as a state senator here, she served very, very well, did a phenomenal job. And just a woman from Cleveland, a black woman from Cleveland, being able to go across this country and speak on behalf of us as Clevelanders, and then share her story as a woman who survived growing up in Cleveland through so many hardships. I think that her being on a national level, fighting for health care, fighting for free college tuition, fighting for a higher minimum wage increase, fighting for women to make dollar for dollar like a man, these are issues that we protest about, we march about, and she's able on a federal level, state level, and a local level be able to really have some impact and a voice for the voiceless. So she's still playing a major role, and as a mentor of mine and advisor on my campaign, she's had a lot of input on how we're running our campaign and what we're doing.
And speaking of the campaign, how long have we been campaigning, and what's the goal?
Yeah, so we started campaigning right after Thanksgiving. Right after Thanksgiving, we're moving, the primary is May 8th, 2018, and we have some opponents that are in the race, but we have to work our butts off. We have to get out and knock on every door. We got to be at every hot spot. You're going to see me in the community. I might pop up at the liquor store like, hey, vote for Earley. I might be in McDonald's parking lot. I might be at the gas station. I might knock on your door, or you might see me through social media, but we're going to make so much noise because people need to understand that all politics is local. We vote a lot when it comes to the president, but it's when your state reps and your governor is running, when your city council person, even your dog catcher, get out and vote for the people that really matter and have an impact right here on the ground. And so we gotta win it in May, and we're gonna be working very, very hard. January and February is about fundraising and volunteer raising and making all of the connections and networks that we need. March, April, we're out in the community, which is what I love, talking to people and really earning the people's vote. Our campaign slogan is pushing the people's agenda. It's not about endorsements, it's not about raising a lot of money, it's about pushing the people's agenda.
And how can we find you on social media so we can follow and keep up with your progress?
Yes, so you can go to Facebook and look up the campaign at People for Kyle Earley, and that's E-A-R-L-E-Y is how you spell my last name. You can also follow me on Instagram at 216KEarley, and also on Snapchat is the same. But stay connected with us. Even if you don't live in District 10 and you can't vote for me, you can still help me win by spreading the word, sharing the information on social media, and letting your family and friends know that there's a movement going on.
Absolutely, and we look forward to seeing your progress in the future.
Thank you.
I'd like to thank you for coming in today, and we will be talking more about this. Again, this is Jazz Prevo with Connections Cleveland. I'm here with Kyle Earley, who is running for state representative for District 10. People, go out and vote. Don't be afraid to get out there and do something for your community. Be a positive voice. Be a positive person. Clearly, we have a Cleveland representative who's going to take it to the next level and represent for us in the most positive manner possible. And if you can help this man by voting, by volunteering, by sharing his story and pushing the word out, then let's do it. All right? Thank you for tuning in, and thank you for joining me.
Thank you. It's not a moment, it's a movement.